The audio on the monitor is a low, wet thrum, like a heartbeat heard through a wall. 3:32 and 50 seconds a.m. I'm leaning so close to monitor for that the static is raising the hair on my arms. On the screen, I'm watching myself, the back of my head, my slumped shoulders. But in the video, a figure is standing directly behind me. It's tall, its limbs too long for its torso, its face a smooth, featureless blur of gray skin. In the video, it raises a hand. It's inches from my real-life neck. I don't breathe. I don't move. I slowly shift my eyes to the reflection in the glass of the monitor. There is nothing behind me but the empty kiosk. I look back at the screen. The figure is gone. But on the desk in the video, right where my hand is resting, there is now a severed human finger. I look down at my real hand. The desk is empty. Then I hear it. A soft, wet click from the floor. I look down. A real, severed finger is rolling across the linoleum. It's still warm. My name is Elias. I work the graveyard shift at the Blackwood Federal Archives, a brutalist concrete tomb that houses sensitive temporal records. It's a job for people who want to be forgotten. For 6 months, the silence was my only friend. But 3 nights ago, the silence started talking back. The building is a labyrinth of humming servers and motion-activated lights that always seem to trigger a second after you've already passed them. You're always walking into darkness, hoping the sensors catch up. Elias? You there? The radio crackled. It was Miller, the site lead, but his voice sounded wrong, stretched, like a cassette tape being pulled too thin. Yeah, Miller. I'm here. Just checking the B-level feeds. I replied, my voice shaking. Don't look at the clocks. The radio erupted into a shriek of white noise. Through the static, I heard a distinct sound. A child's laughter, coming from the empty hallway right outside my door. I checked the monitor for the hallway. Empty. Then I looked at the digital clock on the wall. 3:34 a.m. 3:35 a.m. 3:33 a.m. 3:37 a.m. The numbers were scrambling. I felt a sudden, sharp pressure in my ears, like I was underwater. Thump, thump, thump. Something was hitting the glass of the kiosk. Hard. I turned, expecting a face. Nothing. Just 3 bloody handprints appearing on the glass, one by one, from the outside. But there was no one there. I grabbed my flashlight and stepped out. The air in the hallway smelled like old copper and ozone. Who's there? I called out. My voice echoed, but the echo didn't sound like me. It sounded deeper, older. I made it to the break room. I needed to see a human face, even if it was just on a recording. I pulled up the live feed on the wall-mounted tablet. The timestamp read, tomorrow 2 a.m. I watched myself walk into this very break room. Future me looked haggard. My eyes were sunken, bleeding from the corners. I watched my future self approach the sink, turn the handle, and scream as black, viscous sludge poured out. In the present, I looked at the sink. It was dry. Suddenly, the break room door slammed shut. Click. Locked. The lights cut out. Total darkness. In the silence, I heard heavy, labored breathing. It wasn't mine. It was coming from the corner, near the ceiling. Elias? A whisper crawled into my ear. It's already happened. I swung my light toward the sound. A ceiling tile was pushed aside. A pair of pale, human eyes peered down at me. They weren't the eyes of a monster. They were my eyes. The person in the ceiling vanished with a wet slide. I didn't wait. I kicked the door until the frame splintered and ran toward the deep archive elevator. I had to know what was on level B9, the floor that wasn't on the map. As the elevator descended, the radio static returned. This time it wasn't a voice. It was a rhythmic tapping. Morse code? No. It was the sound of a heart monitor flatlining, played on a loop. The doors opened to a room filled with thousands of old VHS tapes, all labeled with names and dates. I scanned the shelf. Elias Thorne, birth. Elias Thorne, first grade. Elias Thorne, the accident. I pulled the accident tape. I don't remember an accident. I put it into a dusty player. The footage was a dashcam, rain-slicked roads, a car spinning out of control. I saw myself in the driver's seat. The car hit a divider at 80 miles per hour. The glass shattered. The screen went to black. The date on the tape, 6 months ago. I haven't been working here for 6 months. I've been recorded here for 6 months. You weren't supposed to find that yet, a voice said. I spun around. Miller was standing there, but his face was flickering like a low-resolution video. What is this place, Miller? I screamed, backing into the shelves. This isn't an archive of the past, Elias. It's a rendering farm for the future. The government doesn't predict what happens. They script it here. And you? You're a beta feed. A placeholder used to test the physical parameters of the environment before the real Elias arrives. I'm real. I feel the cold. I feel my heart. Miller stepped closer. He reached out and pushed his finger into my chest. There was no resistance. His hand sank into my skin like it was made of smoke. That's just the haptic feedback, Elias. You're at 98% resolution. Almost ready for the swap. The alarm began to blare. A distorted, low-pitched siren that sounded like a dying wail. The lights turned a deep, bruising purple. I ran. I didn't know where, just away. I passed a mirror in the hallway and stopped. I didn't have a reflection. In the mirror, I saw the hallway behind me. I saw the gray, faceless thing from the monitor. It was sprinting toward me, its limbs clicking like a giant insect. Clack, 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 clack. I dived into the security kiosk and locked the reinforced door. I watched the monitors. The thing was outside. It started pounding on the glass. Boom, boom, boom. I looked at the main monitor. It showed the lobby. A man was walking in. He was wearing my clothes. He had my keys. He looked healthy, happy. He looked real. The man at the front desk looked directly into the security camera. He smiled and mouthed the words, "Thank you for your service." He reached into his pocket and pulled out a remote. He pressed a button marked, "Delete." The edges of my vision began to fray into white pixels. My hands started to dissolve into static. I tried to scream, but the audio was cut. I looked at the monitor one last time. The screen showed you. Yes, you sitting there watching this. The timestamp on the video of you is 10 seconds in the future. Look down at your hands. Do you see the faint flicker? The slight lag when you move? You think you're watching a story, but the archives just finished rendering your replacement. The real you is standing right behind your chair, and he's tired of waiting for his turn to live.